Hey everybody, my name is Lou and I am the rhythm guitarist and lead vocalist of the post-hardcore band from Toronto, Diamond Weapon. So I actually, when I was first getting into playing guitar, I was listening to a lot of bands like Sonic Youth, like Nirvana, a lot of these sort of like Seattle and grunge bands, and a lot of them played Fender offset guitars, so that's what really got me in love with Fender offsets, the Jaguars, the Jazzmasters, and the Mustang. And that's why I eventually bought this. This is my main guitar right now. It is a made in Japan modified Fender Mustang. The Mustang was cool, was made cool by Kurt Cobain, and it's sort of like why I've always sort of wanted one. But it's very practical too. I've actually, I'm not a very big guy. And my hands are especially small, so having a short scale guitar is perfect for me. It really allows me to maneuver around and really play what I need to play. And it's a funny story. My friend Adam is a music teacher, and he tells his students all the time about me. He's like, I know this guy Lou who plays in a band, and he bought his guitar specifically because he doesn't have very big hands, so we wanted the best possible guitar for him to play the instrument, and that was the Fender Mustang. So it's a great guitar. The only thing I did was I modded it with a DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup, just to give it that little extra, little oomph, or a little bit of like body to the tone that you don't necessarily get with the single coil pickups from the Fender Mustang. The other guitar I play right now is this one right here. It's the Squier Supersonic. It's actually a fairly rare guitar because this is one of the original made ones from 1995 to 1997. It was part of the Squier Vista series, which was one of the few series of Squier guitars that were actually made in Japan. And because of which their quality was actually very good. It was comparable to, probably like a Mexican Fender guitar, but at a fraction of the price because it was a Squier. And I think that's why they eventually discontinued it, because, a lot of people were buying them, and not people were buying Fender guitars as much. So the Supersonic, like the Mustang, I put a DiMarzio Super Distortion in the bridge just to, to be uniform with tone, and to be able to switch guitars and not lose much in terms of variety. The Supersonic, I sort of like fell in love with. I remember watching, I think it was the Big Day Out concert with At the Drive-In. At the time, Omar Rodriguez was playing a Supersonic. He was playing it left-handed, and again, it's just one of those things. You saw him moving around on stage, and he made it look so cool. And I'm just like, I kind of want that guitar. It's really funny though, because it's a very top-heavy guitar. The body weighs almost next to nothing, so it really gets weighed down by the neck. So if you're playing and you're not supporting it at all, the neck really brings it down, and you just got to really be in control of it. But it's a really cool guitar. It's something people always point out because they don't really see that guitar as much. I know Fender has re-released it recently. I think Avril Lavigne now plays like a Squier Supersonic or a Fender Supersonic. So it might be getting a little bit more notoriety, but this is one of the original ones from 1997, and it's hard to find, and it's really cool. The orange Rock Reverb 50 is my head. It's a Mark 1. I've had it for a while. I actually bought it from Steve's Music in Toronto back in 2007. So I'm coming up on 15 years on it, but I absolutely love it. It's great tone. The cleans are absolutely bright and sparkling. But the gain channel has so much variety to it. You can just have like a little bit of gain, or you can really crank up the gain, and you get those heavy sort of like post-hardcore, hardcore metal tones, and a lot of oomph, lot of body. It's really loud, especially since, you know, I got the 50 watt version. There's a 100 watt version that I was originally targeting, and the salesperson actually talked me out. He's like, unless you're playing, you know, the Air Canada Centre soon or something like that, you're better off with just the 50 watt version. And he was absolutely right on that. So I've had it for a while. I've been taking really good care of it. It's gotten to the point where I've learned how to, swap out the tubes myself. I'm no longer bringing it into service. So I'm actually very proud of myself for that. And I plan on keeping it for a while. It's an absolute workhorse of an amp. The guitar cab is a little bit of a strange one. It's a Seismic guitar cab. Seismic is a company that builds empty guitar cabinet enclosures. So you request the color of Tolex you want and the size of the speakers you want to install, and they'll cut it out for you and ship you just like an empty guitar cabinet. So I asked for the orange Tolex, and the orange is actually slightly different than my guitar hand. One is sort of like closer to a peach. It's a little bit lighter. So they don't exactly match, but I wanted to go that route because I wanted to try and experiment with different speakers. When I first got it, I actually had the speakers of a Fender Twin in the guitar cab, and that was cool for a while, and I got really good tone out of it. But it got to the point where I think the Twin could handle like 60 watts max. And that was okay for me because, I have a 50 watt head, but when you're playing shows, and especially if you're the headliner and there's gear shares and stuff like that, people are coming with 100 watt amps and they actually can't use your cab because, it only handles 60 watts. So I eventually upgraded, made it almost like an orange cab to the Celestion Vintage 30, so now it can handle up to 120 watts, and it's great in that respect. But it's projects well, it's a great sounding cab, the speakers are all lovely, so it's great. Guitar pedals, I have a little bit of variety. I mean, I have a whole bunch of Boss pedals, which are, good for what they are. They're basic, but, for what you need, they'll provide it. I've got the chromatic tuner, I've got a phase shifter, I've got a tremolo. I also have an electric harmonics small clone, which I actually don't really use in Diamond Weapon. Something maybe I should try and incorporate for the future. I've used it in like past projects, but right now it's just sort of like sitting there taking up space on the board, and I'm like, maybe we can incorporate it somehow. So those are the standard ones. The more interesting ones, I have the Line 6 DL4, which I think is the standard for delay pedals. Like, almost all the artists that use delays will have a DL4 at one point. A lot of the stuff I use, like the Swells and Sapphire, is from the DL4. The intro to The House on 65th Street, which is our latest single, the delay on that is from the DL4 as well, because I'm able to tap the tone while I'm playing it, so it's perfect. And on our first album, My Life as a Cat, in the intro, there's sort of like a very quick delay with a really, really long feedback. So it's not me just shredding on the note. I actually just press the note once, and it's just a short delay, and I have it go along as long as possible, which is, I think, like 30 seconds. I never go that long, but it's just like the effect where it goes, that's the DL4. The other delay I use is actually the Elman Whale. Jeff Elman from Cold Shoulder is a friend of mine, and I absolutely love his guitar pedals. I think he does really, really good work, and it's worth checking out. So when he was making pedals, I actually ordered the Whale delay off of him, and he sent it to me, and it's just a beautiful delay. It's very bright tone, it adds an element to whatever you play. So any of the sort of like almost default delays that I use, that's what she told me. Ness, don't forget to call your mother. Those are the whale delays. The other pedal I use that is actually kind of neat is the Mantic Axiom Reverb, which is weird because it's the At the Drive-In Signature series, and I think they only ever made 100 of them. What happens is when they At the Drive-In came out with their album Inter Alia in, I guess it was 2016 or 2017, I bought the largest bundle, pre-order bundle that there was available. It came with like a skateboard deck, it came with the reverb pedal, it came with socks, At the Drive-In socks, like everything you could possibly want. But you know, they're one of my favorite bands, so I spent like the $350 or whatever it was on it because I really wanted the pedal, and it just seemed so cool, and it really is cool. So it really adds like a spacey effect, so any of the songs you hear that reverb tone on the record, the Academy of Young Lions, in the verse, when I'm playing like a D and a D sharp, that's got the reverb underneath it, and that's what gives that cool spacey effect. On top of which, and that's what she told me from our first record, there's a cool function where if you play a note and you hold down the second button, it's a swell effect. So it just, you play the note and it just keeps sort of like swelling on top of itself and creates like a really cool feedback. So I'm actually really, it took me a while to discover what that second button was because I don't think it came with an instruction manual. So once I figured it out, I'm like, that's really cool, and I think that's something I'm going to incorporate a lot more often. As far as other stuff goes, the only other thing that I use is, but it's really cool, is the Roland SPD Wave 1. When we first came out and did our first tour, when we came out with All I Wanted Was the Other Side in 2018, I was touring with my laptop, and I'm not, you know, I've never been the best talker on stage, so I tried to put as many sort of like soundscapes together in between songs so I wouldn't have to talk to an audience. So I was doing it with the laptop, but the laptop was quite burdensome because A, sometimes it goes to sleep, you know, by the time you get to it, and you have to unlock it and, you know, load up what you need, and that would take a while. It was a little bit burdensome, and I just didn't feel comfortable touring with my laptop because essentially, you know, my whole life is on there. I've got all my budgets on there. I do all my recording on my laptop, so all the music and demos I have are on there. So when we did our second tour in 2019, I invested in the Roland SPD-1, and that was a lifesaver. So I think it can handle up to like 30 minutes of sound and files on there. So it was really cool in that respect. And it's literally just one button. You can hit it with your hand, or what I do is I have a drumstick with me and I hit it at the front of the stage, and it'll just play the soundscapes and all the sound effects that I have loaded onto there. So it's a lot more compact. It's not as burdensome as bringing the laptop on the road, and you just affix it to like a drum stand, like a cymbal stand, and set it up, and it's the perfect thing. So that's an investment. I'm very happy with it. Thanks for checking out my gear walkthrough. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out our EP Eyes, which is available now on Bandcamp and Spotify and Apple Music and, you know, everywhere you get your music. We're looking forward to playing the stage again in the fall, so it's very exciting. We really, really miss it, and you can see my gear up close when that happens. So take care, everyone, and cheers.